IROC is back. Did Kaulig and Trackhouse just form an alliance? And all the stuff I missed this weekend. Let's get into it. Coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing good today. All right, first things first, it looks like IROC is back after an 18-year layoff. Mooresville, North Carolina, January 8th, 2024. IROC Holdings, LLC, a joint venture company created by NASCAR Hall of Famer Ray Evernham and former NASCAR Cup team owner and venture capitalist Rob Kaufman, announced the formation of the joint venture and acquisition of the rights to the IROC brand, known as International Race of Champions, a series of races that was held annually from 73 to 2006. IROC brought together the greatest drivers from all forms of motorsport to compete against each other in iconic cars on historic tracks. Although the annual events ended in 2006, the legacy and recognition of the IROC brand has continued throughout the years. IROC Holdings plans to bring the historic brand back to life. IROC Holdings has been formed to house the business operations with the intent to have an IROC racing event in 2024 with historic IROC race cars while exploring future opportunities. The company will initially be based in Mooresville, North Carolina. So there you go. They are planning on having a race this season, or in 2024 in this year, and they're going to do it with some of the classic IROC cars. Some of those cars include the old IROC Camaros, so that'd be cool if they brought those back. Of course, the one they could probably more easily bring back is the Trans Am from 2006, but they did race Porsches back in the day, and several versions of the IROC Camaro, I guess I should have said. So it'll be interesting to see what car they go with, and then after this race this season, what car they go with in the future. And of course, a big part of the IROC deal is the guys who won it and competed in it. And here are a list of the winners. Mark Donohue won the first one. Then it was Bobby Unser, AJ Foyt, Al Unser, Mario Andretti, Bobby Allison, Cale Yarborough, Harry Gant, Al Unser Jr., Jeffrey Bodine, Al Unser Jr. again, Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt again, Mark Martin again, Mark Martin again, Mark Martin again, Dale Earnhardt for a third and fourth time, Bobby Labonte, Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, Mark Martin for the fifth time, and then finally the last season, Tony Stewart won it. And just to bring it up one more time, you did see also on the side graph all the cars that were involved in the IROC deal, so it'll be really cool which one they bring back and which one they use moving forward. This from TobyChristie.com. Trackhouse and Kaulig have swapped crew chiefs heading into 2024. Matt Swiderski moves to the number 99 team, and Travis Mack moves to the number 16 team. So on the face of that right there, it doesn't seem like the biggest deal in the world. They're just having a crew chief swap. You know, one's going to another team, one's going to the other team. But then you look at this post from Kaulig. Travis Mack has joined Kaulig Racing and will serve a dual role as technical director, cup teams, and crew chief of the number 16 Chevrolet. The interesting thing I want to point out here is Kaulig Racing's logo has always been red, white, and black. You look at this logo right here, it is blue and black, very much the Trackhouse colors. Trackhouse and Kaulig have formed an alliance, I think, and Travis Mack is going to oversee the Kaulig side of it. Of course, they already have an alliance with Spire, so just like that, under the Kaulig umbrella now, you have so many cars. So that is super interesting. Just a few years into this, and Kaulig has a massive alliance. We're going to have to see how that plays out going forward. So crazy stuff. Kaulig needs the help, so it's going to be super helpful for whoever drives the 16. I think it's going to be a rotation of drivers over there in the 16. Obviously, AJ Allmendinger will be one of them. It's definitely going to help Daniel Hemrick also. So I think it's going to be super interesting over there for Kaulig now that they've gotten a hold of Trackhouse and some of Trackhouse's information, because you heard of the Tier 3 teams, and I feel like Kaulig was probably one of those Tier 3 teams last year, of course, that Legacy was talking about. So let's transition over to that story real quick. Of course, that story being that Legacy Motor Club last season was a Tier 3 Cup Series team, and they were never even able to get up to Tier 2 or anything like that. Which, I mean, if you looked at the performance from year to year, they were on an upswing, and then last year, all of a sudden, they took a nosedive. So I think it was pretty obvious to everybody, but the fact that they said it out loud, that they were a Tier 3 team last year, made a good story and all that. So I think Kaulig, you could group in that as a Tier 3 team too. So now that Kaulig is in alliance with Trackhouse, how tight that alliance will be. Legacy has switched over to Toyota. They're going to be a Tier 1 team, I would imagine, with Toyota, because I feel like all the Toyota teams are normally a Tier 1 team. team, except for maybe some Gaunt Brothers stuff and things like that back in the day. Maybe Levine Racing wasn't a Tier 1 team back in the day. But for the most part, all of Toyota's teams so far, thus far, have been Tier 1 teams. So I feel like it's going to be a good move for Legacy. And I'm going to be really interested to see how tight this alliance with Kaulig is going to be. Seems like it's pretty tight if Kaulig is already switching their colors over to blue. So super interesting stuff developing here. On the black and blue train as well is Stewart-Haas Racing. Of course, Stewart-Haas Racing's shade of blue, more a petty blue, but they have got a new logo, and here it is via Bob Pockris and the Daily Downforce. And this is the new word mark. I really like the word mark. I don't know about necessarily the logo, the SH logo, but I do like the word mark. So there you go, the updated logo for Stewart-Haas. It's been polarizing, at least on Twitter. Some people love it, some people hate it, but and some people hated the old one. So interesting stuff. They got a new look. I kind of like the word mark. Like I said, I'm not necessarily in love with the logo, though. Of course, the other big news to sort of break this weekend, I say break because I feel like he said this before. I couldn't find it, but I feel like he said it before. Kyle Larson said he's not going to drive in Cup until he's 40 like some guys, and that on the Kenny Wallace show. And because Kenny Wallace has such a big platform on YouTube, shout out to Kenny Wallace, doing a great job over there. So because he has such a big platform on YouTube, a lot more people heard it this time when Kyle Larson said it. But yeah, he said he's not going to race in his 40s in the Cup Series, so I think that brings up a lot of interesting things. Does he quit altogether in his 40s and just become a family man? We've seen that particular avenue with Eric Almirola. Does he sort of do a Tony Stewart and just sort of race everything he wants to race? Or maybe he does a Jimmy Johnson and goes to IndyCar. That last one, interesting because he is racing in the Indianapolis 500 this year. And now that he said he's not going to race in Cup till his 40s, I think IndyCar should put on the full court press and use this as a job interview almost. Be like, hey, IndyCar's fun. Come over here and have some fun with us if you don't want to do the Cup thing. Because he's already, 30, 33, 34, so just a few more years of Kyle Larson in the Cup Series. And this would be as good a time as any for IndyCar to make its pitch to be like, hey, you want to stop doing Cups? Sort of do the reverse Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart came from IndyCar to the Cup Series. Kyle Larson goes Cup Series to IndyCar, a la Jimmy Johnson, but maybe he gets some better results. And it would be a win-win for IndyCar because Kyle Larson brings dirt fans. He would bring NASCAR Cup Series fans over there to IndyCar. So if I was IndyCar, I'd be making that full court press to get him over there in the Indy Series. And a few odds and ends to clean things up here before we go. NASCAR Time reporting Brad Perez will return to Alpha Prime Racing on a partial schedule this season. COTA is guaranteed. Perez will also serve as the team's reserve driver and a tire specialist for Young's Motorsports. Also from NASCAR Time, Freedom Racing Enterprises is a new Truck Series team alert. Spencer Boyd is partnering with Chris Miller to form Freedom Racing Enterprises. Boyd will drive the number 76 truck full-time this season. Jeff Hammond will serve as the general manager of the team. That, of course, interesting because I think Jeff Hammond, if I remember correctly, was a part of Dark Horse or whatever when Timothy Peters ran with him, number 11. So this will be Jeff Hammond's second involvement with a Truck Series team in the administrative level. So it'll be interesting to see how that team comes out of the gates. And it's cool to see all these. We lost a bunch of truck teams, so it's cool to see some other truck teams jumping in there and filling the gap. All right, that's all I got for you on this one. If you want to leave a comment, leave it down in the comment section. I try to get to as many of them as I can. First time to the channel, would love to have your subscription. If not, I'll keep making these things. If you're already subscribed, you know I appreciate you all as well. And all the other stuff I normally say. Thanks for your time. Peace. Sorry about the lighting. I'm redoing... We're redoing this particular studio in here, so I know the lighting is not necessarily perfect. Some people are going to complain about that, but yeah. Doing the best with what we got here, but yeah. In flux right now. Rebuilding it. But I've got room to do this. Like I can go over here now. I still can't go far that way because there's a wall. All right, I'm going to stop talking now.